Have you ever wondered why today's youth score lower on tests or just simply have a general lack of knowledge? Well, one of the reasons that I think this has happened is because of the introduction of cell phones into the school setting. I believe that cell phones have no place in the school setting. In fact, cell phones should not be allowed in the school setting, and I will explain why. The first reason that I believe why cell phones should not be allowed in the school setting is that cell phones allow for a lack of attention, and it also creates safety risks, and some kids experience inferior complexes related to cell phone use. And we will now discuss these three topics. While utilizing cell phones in the school setting, many kids experience a lack of attention. And this could be related to several reasons. Many children choose to use their cell phones for texting, playing games, and listening to music. Well, although these are wonderful features that have come along with the cell phones, they should not be allowed to be used while education is supposed to be going on. Instead of simply having a cell phone to use in emergency situations, many children abuse the use of the cell phones by playing the games instead of focusing on what the teacher is doing. In a way, this also could be seen as a form of disrespect because the teacher is standing before the class giving instruction, but the kids are not paying attention to what the instructor is saying because they're too busy playing games online and texting their friends. This lack of attention has also led to lower test scores. Our children as a whole do not compare to previous generations when we look at their test scores. And even if we consider the American children on an international level, our kids are just not faring very well when we compare them to their cohorts internationally. And again, I relate this back to the use of cell phones in the school setting. When using cell phones in a school setting, we also have to take into consideration safety risks. When having cell phones in a school setting, things can be done that may cause problems for other kids. For instance, unwanted pictures of others. Some children may take photos of other kids who simply don't want to have pictures taken of them. But what can that child do if someone else takes a picture of them? That can lead to other things. That could lead to fights, bullying, and also stalking. We've heard of several cases where kids have been stalked because of cell phone use. Many kids have also experienced theft related to their cell phones. Many kids want the latest and greatest items and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get them, including theft, which will also potentially lead back to fighting, which is not something that we need in a school setting. Schools should be a peaceful environment. Another safety issue with cell phones is the fact that some children, instead of working with the staff and administration at schools when they have an issue or a conflict, they will simply dial their parents. And sometimes parents may receive one side of a situation or story and become irate, come to the school under volatile situations and really mishandle situations based off of what they've heard from a student instead of getting the information from the adults. So because of the use of cell phones, this will create safety risks that should not be in the school setting. So we've already discussed how cell phones contribute to a lack of attention in the school setting. We've discussed how safety risks have come about because of cell phones. And now we will explore the notion of some children experiencing an inferior complex. Some kids just simply cannot afford having a cell phones. Many families in today's market, in today's society, just simply don't have enough money to add an extra bill on top of the bills that we already have. Many families have experienced significant income loss due to recession and different things like that. And some kids really don't feel up to par to their cohorts because they don't have a cell phone. Or they may not have a cell phone that has all the features like some other kids. And because of the cell phones being allowed into school, this may affect how some kids feel. They may feel inferior to their cohort, and this may ultimately affect their demeanor, their self-esteem, and this just should not be something that should be allowed in the school setting, because school should be a place where kids feel comfortable, where there's peace, and where there's an environment that is conducive to learning. Many kids may also see themselves as not important to their parents, because if their parents are not able to provide that for them, they may think, well, maybe my mom and dad just don't care, or maybe my mom and dad just don't want me to have the things that I like. But if cell phones were not allowed in the school setting, this would not be something that many kids would have to deal with. So in conclusion, I would like to say that cell phones should not be allowed in a school setting for all of the reasons that I have mentioned. Cell phones possess safety risks, they pose safety risks, they add to attention deficits, and some kids feel inadequate. As we move forward and as technology grows and changes and advances, I hope that the educational system will eventually be able to catch up and agree with the notion that cell phones should not be allowed in school, because all kids should be able to go to school and feel safe, feel confident, and know that they're there for one reason, and that reason is to learn.